Hey, this is Nick the Mining Book Guy. Today I'd like to talk about Hummingbird Resources, an emerging producer of gold in West Africa. Disclosure, I do own shares in the company. There are further disclosures below this video. If you are watching this video from my YouTube channel, please consider going to chat.ceo.ca, the link that you see on the screen. I think that this video is enhanced by the resources I've provided there. It's a great place for further discussion, which is one of the goals of the video. This is kind of a whirlwind tour of the company, but the main reason for creating it is that a definitive feasibility study was released on January 18th with some excellent headline numbers. And this is one of the few companies that seems like it's going to make money even at $1,100 gold. No newsletter writers in North America or anywhere that I'm aware of, commented on this, and very few retail investors did as well. It just seemed that the only people aware of the company are people who are already invested, and it really deserves to be discussed more. And there's some other reasons this could be a very interesting case study, either on the positive or the negative side. So this video is trying to encourage that discussion. Some of the places it is discussed, you can see here, this is the hum.l room. That's the Hummingbird room. You can see my name, Mining Book Guy, shows up. There's a couple other guys here. These are my German-speaking buddies at ceo.ca terminal, which is another name for chat.ceo.ca. This is a great site, but I think it's funny that so much positive stuff has happened, but nobody's discussing it. I'm not exactly sure why, but we're hoping this encourages more discussion. A few other places. This is lse.co.uk, a nice site for the UK crowd. There's some decent discussion here. And also iii.co.uk. This basically is the English-speaking world, where they discuss it. Again, it's not very much, and hopefully this encourages more, because I'm not an authority here, and I'm trying to learn from you guys what you think about the company. You can figure things out. But you need a really good reason to even consider speculating in a company like this. And this big mugshot here, this is Dan Betts. This was a really fantastic article from 2012 on his personal history and his history at the company. I won't go into details, but I'll just say he's an incredibly dynamic individual that I can just tell from this article and from a couple other sources. But take a look at this. Tell me you don't get excited from reading about this. And this is one of those companies that, even with some great projects, I personally speculated, like, over half the reason for that is because Dan's been running it, and I think he really could be the next big time person in the mining world. And it's amazing to me that he still doesn't have his that much of a following. So that's important to me. It might not be as important to you, but to support it, first of all, we're going to take a look at the most recent annual report. I just want to show this is where you can misinformation sometimes. This is from December 2014. There's some solid info here from Russell King, the current chairman, and from Dan, but there's nothing that really explains stuff to someone who wants an overview of the company. There's this annual report that also says 2014. They actually changed their the year end from an accounting perspective, and this might be easy to miss for people who are even aware of the company. But the reason I'm here is that the former chairman, Ian Cockrell, who left the company under good terms, I think he provides a great statement of how much the company transformed in that year. And if you don't know anything about Ian, he used to be the CEO of Goldfields. Just so happens that Goldfields sold the current project in development by Hummingbird in Mali, the Yanfalila project, for shares, where Goldfield is now the largest shareholder in Hummingbird. You can also see that Ian continues to be a director for Endeavour Mining, which is a very promising gold mid-tier in West Africa. He has a ton of credibility, and the fact that he is involved and still involved in advisor capacity, but I think he was instrumental in a lot of these changes, you get that sense here, and you also get the sense of this company figured out how to change their strategy. There's some great statements by Dan as well. You can see that it's only 2 or 3 pages. You need to read this after you read that other article on Dan. You read these two things, you'll get a great understanding of where the company was, where it is now, where it wants to be, and you don't have to go through a whole bunch of other resources to catch up. And keep in mind, there's lots of numbers you can go through too, but this is the qualitative stuff that I consider arguably even more valuable to understand. But moving forward, let's talk about timeline a little bit. As part of getting this, great new project in Mali, is that it's supposed to be fully funded with debt through Taurus Mining Finance Fund, and this is where we start to get into some of the red flags, some of the problems. This news release is from August 2014. They were provided a bridge facility, 10 million, which has been increased to 15 million US, but they've never gotten that full 75 million financing. It's a big strike against the company, perhaps the biggest, and the share price has really felt it as well. It doesn't help that the company actually created an optimization study. You can see that it was dated February 17th, 2015, almost exactly a year ago, and they still haven't gotten the funding. So, where are we now? Like, what is the company doing to try to rectify this? Well, the good news is that recently there's been some great results. This is December 15th, maiden reserves announcement, and to go with that, the DFS that we already discussed on January 18th, but I'll go back to some of the negatives, and even though these are negatives, I've gotten some great information from Burt Monroe, the head of business development. I talk to him on a fairly regular basis at Hummingbird. I got some good quotes from an email from him. The first one, I think, is a bit of a red flag, and I quote, "The DFS is primary document and supersedes the optimization study. This is a bankable study with reserves, much better than the optimization." So this optimization study that was about 180 pages has been superseded by this DFS report. And I'm scrolling down, and I scroll down quickly. This is only a few pages long. I'm sure that if this was a Canadian-listed company, there would be tighter regulations, and they would have been required to have a full technical report by NI 43101 standards. And I just don't get a good feeling from that, because I feel like we should have a better report for the average retail investor like myself, or maybe you, to understand what's going on. And it's a little worse when combined with some info I picked up from Tim Oliver. And Tim, he's a great person to chat with, again on chat.ceo.ca, someone that I highly respect for his skills and knowledge in understanding feasibility studies. He made a great point. He has this rule of thumb that 1,000 tons per day mine should cost $100 million US dollars. And that's for open pit mines with mills. I'm not going to get into all the details, but I will just tell you, if you crunch some of the numbers for this project, and you can see here that they talked about increasing the plant throughput capacity. The numbers don't match. They are not favorable based on Tim's rule of thumb. I don't understand this. I rely on experts like Tim to help me run through it, but he pointed out that that's a red flag. He pointed out that the steeper pit slopes in the new mine design, that's another red flag. There's stuff that just makes me feel that the probability for things to go wrong during construction have increased. Now, on the bright side, I have a good quote from Burt, where in an email response he told me, by publishing a DFS, it does open to more partners if that's required. I mean, these last two news releases, despite some red flags, I think they're fantastic from a perspective of getting the funding. And if you look at a more recent report from February 2nd, I just want to point out that there is an additional extension on this bridge facility to March 8th, which is less than a month away. I think there's going to be big news. This is speculation on my part, but within the next month or by that deadline, and that they will get the funding. and I think the company could immediately be re-rated. It's a $27 million USD market cap right now. So in a nutshell, I'm actually really optimistic about the funding, though that's my opinion. I think that in the midterm there could be some problems with building this out, and I'm still trying to figure that out. But if they can get over that big hurdle in the long term, this thing could look really great because of the previous understanding of who Dan Betts is and the strategy that seems to make sense with the company. I'm going to finish this off by just talking about a couple competitors that I think a lot of people should take a hard look at. That's True Gold Mining and Rox Gold. These are both very near-term producers. Within the next few months, they should both be producing gold in Burkina Faso. With their feasibility studies, just take a look that the NPV is 5% here for True Gold, and it's also 5% for Rox Gold. That's what they're using as their standard. Hummingbird used 8%, and Hummingbird's in Mali, but this is just to show, even though everything could work out with those mines, I don't think that's conservative at all. I think that Burkina Faso and Mali should very well be on the same discount rate, cost of capital. And it's just to show that even though Hummingbird might have some issues, they are conservative, more conservative with some of their numbers. And I think this is a plus in their direction. And if Hummingbird can get through those big hurdles, keep in mind that Hummingbird, again, has a $27 million USD market cap. Rox Gold is 189 US dollar, 189 million US dollars, and True Gold is 95 million. Again, if Hummingbird can get through a lot of problems or potential issues, they will get a re-rating, and then they've got not really a secret, but they've got this potentially fantastic mine or deposit in Liberia that's on the back burner right now, but it's over 4 million ounces, and if gold keeps moving up in price, it's fantastic optionality that neither Rox Gold or True Gold has. So this is something that we can discuss in this room, but I really think it deserves to be talked about in those range of great companies. I don't own shares in True Gold or Rox Gold, but I highly respect them, and I think Hummingbird needs to be part of that conversation. This is it. What do you guys think? I encourage you to write in the chat.ceo.ca article room for this, and I would be happy to to see good or bad comments about the company so we can all learn more about it. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this, and we will talk soon. This is Nick the Mining Book Guy signing off. Bye.